make sure my earring right. Happy, 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 happy Monday. I pray that you all are well. I pray that your families are well. I pray that you all had a spectacular day. Today makes what? Countdown to Christmas, 10 more days until Christmas, right? Look, I am 43 years young. I had to think about that, right? I was about to say 42. I just had a birthday in November, so I'm getting used to saying 43. So thankful, so grateful. I feel amazing. Let me just say that. I am 43. I am alive. I am well. I have use of my limbs. I can speak. I can still squat, right? I can still walk. If I gotta run and race our 11-year-old son and the rest of our small children, listen, I can do it. I can do it. And more importantly, I just want to say this: I am so, and y'all don't know me yet. And you may, and if you do, make sure you just say hi, or if you don't, say hi anyway. But I am in a place in my life where my purpose is so important to me. And I am so excited about my future. I know some people, loathe aging. I am embracing it. I am embracing aging, especially the beauty about social media. Y'all know there are negatives and positives to everything. But the beauty about social media is that you get to see people from all walks of life, and I get to see women maturing in ages in different ways. And I'm seeing more and more women mature in age so gracefully, so energetically, so healthfully, right? I follow some people that I follow. I follow Coach Rochelle on Instagram. She's a great, oh my gosh, she's absolutely amazing. Oh gosh, I wish I knew the other lady that I follow. I follow like three other ladies. One lady, she's like 81 years young. Another lady, she's in her 70s. Another one, she's in her 60s. And these women look absolutely amazing. And they talk about their journey. So I am excited about maturing in age. I have learned so much over the course of my life. And this is why I am mandated to support you all who are ready to grow, who are ready to go for it. So, you all don't know me yet, right? Hi. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever part of the world you are a part of. Welcome. My name is Dr. JaNee Mobley. I'm affectionately known as Dr. JaNee. Hi, Samantha. Hi, LGC123. TV. I like that. I like that. So you all come on in. As you all come on in, make sure you subscribe to my channel, share this with about 2 or 3 people. For those of you all who don't know me, again, my name is Dr. JaNee Mobley. I'm affectionately known as Dr. JaNee, and I help professional women who lack focus, who lack fulfillment, and who are hungry for self-confidence to go for the things that they desire in their life. Okay. All right. If you had to put that out there, then that's you, right? So and welcome into this space. If you are, that is totally you, right? So welcome to into my space. I was just sharing a couple of minutes ago that that I have turned 43. I turned 43 in November, and I am embracing the journey of maturing in age. I am embracing what the changes are, right? The changes hormonally, the changes emotionally. And here's the thing, it's not all bad, okay? It is not all bad. Everybody's journey is different, right? But I am so grateful. I want to come on here and share just some things that I had to share with you all. Okay. Okay, you're becoming a nuisance. So you're about to get muted. If you keep on, you're going to get muted. So tonight I want to talk to you all. I want to ask you all this question. Have you ever wanted to do something? Like you're really passionate about something. You get this idea, you desire to go for a promotion, you desire to up level and shift your way of thinking. You know what? One of the things I love about YouTube is that you can put people in timeout, right? You can put people in timeout. And I love that about YouTube, right? If you all go live on YouTube, and people become inappropriate or they become very distractive, you can literally go in and put that user on timeout for 30 minutes, for 24 hours. I love that feature about YouTube, by the way. Love, 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 love YouTube. But I want to ask you all, how many of you all have had something that you desired to do, something you wanted to do, have been passionate about doing, but you get to a place before it's time to execute and all of these inner conversations start coming, all of these thoughts started coming, right? You weren't even thinking about this stuff until you decided and desired to do something bigger. I just made up a word, right? You decided to do something bigger. You decided to step out of your comfort zone. You decided to do something out of the norm, and all of these thoughts start swarming in your head. And then what happens for most, may not be all of you all, is that you hit a standstill. Those inner conversations, I call them inner monologues, right? Those conversations that come to stop you, those conversations that come to stagnate you, those conversations that make you wonder whether you're good enough. Right? I want to share with you all three conversations, and there's a multiple. I'm talking about three conversations that stop you from going for it. Right? I would try to pronounce your name, but I would completely jack that up. So tonight I want to share with you all three. Where's my phone? Here it is. Okay. All right. All right, one of the things that I'm going to say this note. For those of you all who feel like you have to be perfect to start anything, this should be, anybody who goes live should be a positive example of showing you that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to make a decision, right? So, number one, inner conversation number one that stops a lot of people from going for it. Inner conversation number one is, what if I fail? What if I fail? That is one of the, and if you relate to asking the question or having the inner monologue, the inner conversation before you make that decision to take that jump, to take that leap, to do whatever it is that your heart is burning and yearning for, one of the first thoughts come to your mind is, what if I fail? Right? What if I fail? Have you ever been that person? Right when you get that idea, the thought of what if I fail comes to mind. Well, I want to help you with something. I want you to understand this, is that a lot of the times, and I want you to think about the history of these conversations as I'm sharing these with you. Understand this. A lot of these inner monologues, as I call them, or inner conversations, have one goal, and it's to stop you. Those inner conversations have the goal to prevent you from taking the step of executing, writing the book, starting the business, making more money, going after the promotion, getting greater certifications. If getting a degree is the very thing for you, stepping out to purchase a house, making that big and huge investment that you've never made before. One of the biggest thoughts that people have that stops them is, what if I fail? And then what happens is you go down this rabbit hole and what happens that floods your mind is all of the past mistakes, all of the past failures, all of the things that did not go right or perfectly start to flood your thoughts. You think about all of the choices that you made in life. It's okay. Thank you, Samantha. You think about all of the choices in life that you made that did not go so well. You think about all of what you consider as failures that did not go so well. And how ironic is it that whenever you get ready to take that step to move forward, that all of the negative thoughts try to come to mind? The goal is to stop you. So let me ask you this question. And this is what you ask yourself. This is literally what I have asked myself whenever I'm afraid to take a step and the thought of what if I fail comes to mind. What if I succeed? We think about all of the negative stuff, but what if you succeed? What if it truly works? What if what it is that you desire to go for works? What if you do succeed? What if lives are changed because you made a decision to say yes? Even bigger, what if somebody sees you take that leap and take that big step and it lets them know that they can? What if you making a move increases somebody else's belief to move forward in an idea that they have or a dream that they had? What if seeing you move forward in the very thing that you burn and yearn to do increases their belief to say, well, if they did it, maybe I really can. If they truly succeeded and they made this work, maybe I really could. Do you realize just how powerful you are? That whenever a thought, I'm going to show you how powerful you are, that whenever a thought of doing something great comes to mind, the flood of something negative tries to stop you, because what if something knows that if you say yes and you move forward, that you're going to change lives, that somebody's going to be impacted? But that leads me to the second inner conversation, the second inner monologue that stops a lot of people is, what if I do succeed? Have you ever said to yourself, what if I do succeed? And there's a fear of being able to maintain the level of success that you've already acquired. Do you all know that pressure to succeed is a real thing? But I want to give you this perspective. If you've ever had the thought of, what if I do succeed? Will I really be able to maintain this level of success? I want to give you this perspective. And we're designed in this way. Whenever you have been stretched and you decided to move out of your comfort zone to do something that you've never done before, it's hard to shrink back down. I want to give you this. For those of you all how many of you all have learned how to ride a bike, right? And if you were anything like me, getting on this bike was very intimidating, especially with the training wheels off, right? And I remember, I never forget my dad. I had this purple and white bike. Like when I was growing up in the 90s, having a bike as a gift was the gift to have during Christmas time. I don't know about y'all, but getting a bike around Christmas time was one of the greatest gifts to have. And I'll never forget having this purple and white bike. My dad showed me how to ride it with training wheels on it. And at first, with the training wheels, I was a little intimidated. I was about 4 or 5, and I was a little intimidated, but he got me on it, right? I trusted my dad. I was a daddy's girl. Got on this bike, and I was like, okay, I can do this, right? With the training wheels, it was like, okay, I can do this. Then a few months later, he was like, no, he didn't even communicate with me. He just took the training wheels off of the bike. And was like, okay, you riding this bike today. And I'm looking like, where are the training wheels, Daddy? Like, where are the wheels that were on this to make it easier for me? And y'all, I was so intimidated. I was so scared. But guess what? I trusted my dad to hold me. And initially, when you're teaching somebody how to ride a bike, the adult holds on to that seat while the person who's riding the bike is pedaling. And the goal is to pedal, to pedal, to pedal. And when the person who's holding them up and supporting them knows or feels confident that they have it, they let go. And y'all, my daddy let go. And I was fine until I realized that he let go. And I freaked out. Right? But I fell one time, but I got up and I got back on that bike. And once I figured out how to perfect riding a bike without training wheels, I could care less about the training wheels. What am I saying? Once you stretch out of your comfort zone, once you stretch out and do something that you've never done before, it is hard for the human mind to shrink down, to go back to what you did before. So and I'm going to say not if, when you acquire a level of success, a great level of success, this is why if you've ever met anybody who is successful and they've lost, everything, or they took a loss, they always get back up and they keep going. Why? Because one, they know how to. Two, it's already in them. They've already been stretched to succeed. They already know what it looks like to be successful. So it's easier to acquire that level of success again because they've already done it. I remember I went through 6+ years from my freshman year as an 18-year-old all the way through pharmacy school. And y'all, it seemed like the most grueling experience ever. But if I had to repeat it all over again, guess what? One, I wouldn't want to, right? But that's already small to me. I handled and I was able to overcome the hard thing. Now it's on to something bigger or better. I remember another example. I remember I used to hate reading. I don't know about y'all. I used to hate reading, loathe reading. And who would have ever thought that the person who hated reading would end up being an author? And I'll never forget, our assistant pastor prophesied to me. She said, JaNee, you're going to write a book. And I'm thinking to myself, is she talking to the right person? Like, God, did she get this right? Is she saying what she's saying? But she wasn't lying. Long story short, I didn't know anything about writing a book. And the thought of writing a book was intimidating at the time. And I remember saying to myself, I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I did it fresh out of my husband and I literally coming from being homeless. Like, we were literally sleeping in our car one night. We ended up going from house to house, from after that, from one relative to the next relative. And we ended up moving back into our own place and rebuilding. And while I was pregnant with our son, and I started writing our book 8 weeks after writing my book, 8 weeks after I gave birth to our son. Talking about doing a hard thing while I was nursing him and adjusting to being a first time mom. And I was determined. I tell our kids this. I may have started out discouraged, but I say this to myself often. Don't stay discouraged, get determined. I ain't know nothing about writing a book. But what I did know, I took English. I know how to write. I got a paper and I got a pen, and I would write every single night. I didn't know nothing about editing. I didn't know nothing about copywriting. I didn't even know anything about how to publish a book, but I knew how to write. And I would write every single day. And I wrote that book until the book was done. And long story short, I published the book. Do you think it's easy for me to write a book now? Absolutely. See, what happens is when you make a decision to do something that you really want to do, every obstacle or every challenge will try to come to stop you, because on the other end of you saying yes and implementing and doing that very thing that you desire to is a transformation, not just for you, but for somebody else. And I'm gonna pause right there. Y'all, this is so funny. My phone been transcribing what I've been saying, but that may be a good thing. The last question. So we went on, what if I fail? What if I succeed? And the last thing is this, right? Oh gosh. I don't have enough time. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I had another question, but my phone was transcribing, so I don't even know what it is. I don't remember what the last question was. But I'm gonna say this. Another inner monologue that stops people is that they never think that they'll have enough time. And I'll say this. It's how we use the time that we have. Never think that you don't have enough time. Ask yourself, how am I using my time? And determine whether you're using your time wisely to implement the very thing that you want to implement. See, a lot of the times it's not that we don't have enough time, it's that we are not using the time that we have been allotted well to execute the very things that we should be doing. So ask yourself, how am I using my time? Am I using my time to build the very thing that I know I'm supposed to be building? Whether it's a company, whether it's an organization, whether it's an institution, whether it's building your family, right? How are you using your time? Are you using it wisely? And don't get me wrong, we should have time where we should relax so we can become restored and we can rebuild. I'm big on rest. Listen, I'm big on it, right? But how are you using your time? If you all would like to learn more, make sure you click the link and join me for my masterclass, the Fulfillment Formula Masterclass on Thursday. Make sure you sign up. It is free. Only thing that it will cost you is your time, which is the greatest asset that you have, right? Coincidentally, we're talking about time. So I want to challenge you with this. Whenever the idea, always know this, that whenever you desire to do something that you've never done before, you can almost expect a conversation to go on in your heart, in your mind, in your spirit to try and stop you. This is why the scripture tells us to keep thy heart with all diligence, because out of it flows the issues of life. When you look up heart, I believe it's in the Hebrew meaning, it means seat of emotions. The reason that we're to guard our hearts is because God knows, and this is my belief and experience, God knows that our hearts and our minds are the places that we create, and they're the level that determine how we execute or whether we execute. Whether you do or you don't do is determined by the positioning of your thinking. So if you're not guarding, if you're not keeping your heart with all diligence, the choices and the decisions that you're making are based upon the level of your thinking. So if you don't believe that you can, guess what? You won't. If you believe that it won't work, you won't even take the first step to see whether it will. I challenge you, if you want to walk and live a life that is truly purposeful, that is truly fulfilling, you must be aware that how you think and what you think matters. And you have to protect your mind. You have to protect your heart just as you would as a parent protecting their children. I always say, you won't just allow anyone, or you shouldn't, to just say anything to your child. You as a parent just won't say anything to your child. So you should not allow the conversations in your head to move forward if they're not feeding your soul. So whenever you question, what if this doesn't work? Ask yourself, what will happen when it does? It's about reframing your way of thinking and repositioning your way of thinking. The only difference between someone who is succeeding at what you desire to succeed compared to you is that their belief system is set at a whole nother place than yours. You just have to reframe the thought and reshape your thinking. That's it. And if you notice, the first two inner conversations were questions. Whenever you ask a question, what do you expect on the other end of the question and answer? So you must reshape the question. Again, instead of saying, what if I fail? Well, what if you succeed? What if this does work? What if lives are impacted? What if they don't reject me? What if I sell out? It's all about reshaping your way of thinking. So from this day forward, be aware of the inner conversations, the inner monologues that are going on within you, and begin to reshape and reframe the thought by asking yourself the right questions so that you can end up with the right answers. If you all haven't already, make sure you subscribe, click the link below, and join me for the Formula Fulfillment Masterclass. And I'll see you next time. You all have an amazing evening. And remember, know your worth. Good night, y'all. Bye.